Hi guys, thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking, thank you for dropping your comments. I really do appreciate. So the last video I taught on how to cut a simple short skirt, and in this video I'll be teaching on how to piece everything together to make that beautiful skirt that you really want to wear. So the first thing to do is to sew the lining to the Ankara fabric. You can see the way it's placed. You're going to be sewing the lining to the front of the Ankara fabric. Why you're doing this is to ensure that the fabric is properly lined and is not transparent, and it just gives the skirt a better feel, a better texture. So you do that to the both sides. You sew the first side and then you sew the second side, and once that is done, that is once you are done sewing the both sides of the fabric, you've done sewing the fabric to the lining, you can see it there. That is the front. I sewed the lining to the front of the fabric. The next thing I'm going to do is to flip it. I'm going to flip it, so now this is the front. This is how your skirt will look like. This is the front of the skirt. This is the front of the skirt. You make sure it's properly arranged, and then you iron. You give it a clean iron. You make sure that you open every edge and just iron. Some people, they probably don't like ironing and they just use their hand, just find a method. But make sure, I prefer ironing because it makes the cloth neat. It gives the cloth a better shape. So once that is done, put that aside. You do the same thing to the back of the skirt. This time around, I would just be placing the lining on the fabric. You can see that I placed the lining to the front of the fabric, and then one side of the fabric is straight and the other side is curved. The straight side is the part for the slit and the zipper. So you just give it that clean seaming. You seam it properly and then you turn, you flip it. Do the same thing to the other one. And then that is the two sides of the back. Remember, in the last video I said that the back of your skirt is normally divided into two to accommodate for your zip and your slit. So I'm just going to flip it together, and then I'll try to take, while I'm flipping it, I'm going to place the front part of the cloth on it. The reason why I'm placing the front, so that I can get the exact, we left, if you watch the last video, you will see that we left 2 inches for zipper and slit allowance, but I'm placing it in front now so that I'm sure that the front and the back are equal. We don't have any excess. And if you take that measurement, you will notice that it's 2 inches actually. So for that part, you need a ruler to just give it a good and proper straight line. I suggest that as a beginner, you use a ruler. You can see that my line is not very straight. So from here, I'll be taking my slit measurement. I'm taking your slit measurement. I'm measuring 2. To show 2 is the measurements we took to fold the skirt, to fold the hem of the skirt. From there, I'll be taking the slit measurements. Some people use 7, 8, depending on how open you want the slit to be. For this measurement, I'm using 6.5. Most people use 7. And if you want it open, people use as much. Just depend on what you want, how you want the skirt to be open. Then take the zipper measurement. You can see I placed the tape from 1. That is to show that there's going to be a place for band, and then I'll just mark it out. So starting from where the slit part is, see the way I placed it on my sewing machine, I sew and then I turn the cloth and I sew it to the edge and stop. Make sure you give your cloth a proper trim. You do not want a situation whereby there will be lots of thread hanging around. And I'm just pinning down the zipper part and then ironing the slit. So you can see from the cloth, I'm going to place the front to the back. So this is the place for the zip. I'm not ready to fix a zip, and that's why I'm using a pin to just hold it down. And then I'm placing the front to the back. So for someone who is beginning, I would advise that when placing the front to the back, you pin it down. Have your pin cushion, just have your pin to pin it down so that your fabric is not moving around. So you make use of the same measurement you've been using all the while, your length measurements, your waist measurements, you mark it, then just shape it out properly. Make sure that whatever allowance you use for both sides are the same. So if you are shaping it out one on the left hand side, you should shape it out one on the right hand side. If you are shaping it out two on the left hand side, shape it out two on the right hand side. And I would advise you also have a ruler, because you can see that my lines are not straight. But when I shape out, it will come out straight because of probably I've been doing this for a long time. So here we have it. These are skirts. This is our skirt, though it's not completed yet, but we have it. This is our hip, this is the length of the skirt. Then we have the waist, and this is the down part of the skirt that we folded. This is the waist where the band will be fixed. So this is what I'm just going to do here. I'm going to fix the band to the skirt. So remember, I pinned the zipper part because I do not have a zip yet. So I'm just removing the pins to give me the allowance to fix my band. So the band will be fixed from the zip part all the way round. So it's just going to go round your hip. So just a quick seam. I'm having troubles here. Just a quick seam it round. Be careful to follow the line. Be careful to have a straight line. This can be very taxing. So be careful, especially for a beginner. It can be very taxing. You can see that my line is very straight. And then I'm going to fold. So it depends on the size of the band you want. If you watch the last video, I said some people prefer a bigger band. For this particular skirt, I want a smaller band. So you can see how I'm folding it. It's a half an inch band. I want a smaller band. I'm just going to fold it carefully. Fold it very carefully so that your lines are straight. And then I'm going to sew it from the top. I'm not sewing from down. I'm sewing it from the top. And then just this part, you need to be very, very careful. You need to be very, very careful to avoid having a scattered line. You want the cloth to be as professional as possible. You want it to be as neat as possible. So just take it slowly. You can see that I'm folding it in, taking it slowly, folding it in, sew, folding, sew, folding, sew. I'm not just rushing to sew the band to the skirt. So here we have it. So you can now cut off the excess if you want. So for now, I don't want to cut it off. I'm just going to show you what's left. So you can see I'm cutting off all the thread around the skirt so that the cloth is very neat. Cutting it off, and then you can see the fabric. If you open up the skirt, you can see how neat it is. You will not be able to see the thread I used to sew the skirt. You can see how neat it is. Fabric is properly seamed. So for this is the down part of the skirt. You just want to fold it up. It's just to take your 2 inches allowance. Remember, the length of our skirt was 21, so you just fold it up. That's the only thing you need here. Fold it up. I'm just showing you because I'm not ready to do that too. So I'm pinning it down. I advise that as a new beginner, have your pin with you, because this fabric is quite easy to work with. There are some fabrics that just moves around. So this is it. This is the length of the skirt. This is how the skirt will come out after seaming. So from here, when you want to seam, you just fold it this way and sew round. This is the basic of seaming, and that's all. That is all. We have our skirt. Our skirt's completed. You can learn how to make your own skirt. You don't need to pay money to learn your skirt. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you. Thank you.